I feel the GUU. I know that I will now. I feel the GUU. I knew that I would now. So much GUU. So much GUU. I got a you.
Yo, 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 what's good, guys? I'm here with the fish man himself, Farfa.
Oh, goals in the chat, boys.
Little Joel's in the chat. Joel Fast, Joel Pride, Joel. If you guys don't know, this is the one and only. We have Farfa here, dude. I'm actually really excited to have you on this episode of the GUU Cast. We have a lot to talk about.
I see the lines.
Oh,
No,
shit.
brother. I saw it. No, brother.
I'm a Farfa fan, so I've watched your streams, bro.
I'm a Farfa fan too.
Sometimes you see the lines.
Brother, when Farfa was leaving when he was doing the Sabaton and he was leaving the call, I was joining right after. Now it's my stream. It's my empire. And everyone was crying.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I never see what happens after those things. Like I don't go back and check. Like
Don't
you guys
do it.
might have. If you've been joining, dropping all kinds of like crazy illegal things and comments or whatever. I'm none the wiser, dude. So
Yeah.
I'm just praying for the best.
Dude, so you recently just had this insane subathon. So I was about to say huge congratulations. That's epic. 15,000 subs, eh? Like something massive.
Yeah, it was crazy. 13 days, and honestly, I feel like I maybe could have went longer, but it's that stuff just
It's
it drains
deteriorating
you,
on
man.
your
And
mental health.
it came to a point where I was like, please just end this. Please just end this.
Right.
Yeah, but let's go on the focus on the discussion. Do you have any Oli barons to suggest us? Like, do you want to leak some, numbers, oil barons?
Some oil barons. Listen, man. If you have a Yusuf or an Ahmed in your chat, like you VIP them, you treat them good.
Where holy shit. I'm gonna check them right now.
Guys, we're about to start right now. Let's do it. But so okay. First topic we had was Master Duel, right? We saw, I know you play a lot of Master Duel, and a lot of people talked about how Master Duel was going to be this gateway into the esports scene. And I guess from your perspective,
Oh boy, that went well.
You've been playing the game for what, about I guess like a year or two now. Like what are your thoughts on esports and Master Duel?
You said year or two. It's only been 9 months, but man, it feels like forever, doesn't it?
Ugh, bro, there's a ban list like every week.
Dragged on. Yeah, so I think Master Duel has been a massive success overall, and has been a great way to get sort of returning players and older players back into like some of the modern game and stuff like that. But I think like so many things could have been done much better personally. I think that on release, a lot of people who used to play Playground Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, which I think that games like this is who it's aimed for and who it's kind of designed to try and bring into modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I just think like I feel so bad for for people who have never touched the game or haven't touched the game in years and years, almost over a decade probably, to like jump back and be like, oh wow, Yu-Gi-Oh is on Steam, and they jump in and they play against Tri Brigade and Drytron, like.
I was trying to imagine it in my head. I'm like, that's awful. That's awful.
And like, imagine just having Herald like dropped on you, and you just summon Luster Dragon and set an econ, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is unreasonable. And so from the outset, I think out of the gates, like there was just a lot of squandered potential, I feel, and I think that they definitely should have tried to focus more on the older aspects of the game, at least initially. And I don't think like a rotation or something was the answer, but I think like
I like the rotation. I like the rotation, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of the rotation. Imagine different sets coming out and like you put all those sets in one meta, okay? Like you take 10 sets, you make one meta out of 10 sets, and then people have to play old cards mixed with the new cards, creating new, sort of deck.
I'm not completely against the idea, honestly, and I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is a game that has so many cards and packs and sets that they could have created like some sort of like classic set, which has been data mined, by the way. Like we knew from the very beginning, before the release of Master Duel, there is a classic event happening, but we don't know what that is and what that entails, what the card pool is. And I think that if they started with something like that, they wouldn't have like lost so many players, which naturally a game release is going to lose players, and that's just a fact if you look at the Steam statistic. I don't know how severe the drop off has been recently, but from what I can tell, Master Duel is still popular, but I just think like, man, so much better stuff could have happened if they focused more on the the things that people really enjoy about Yu-Gi-Oh, which is like the non-competitive aspect, which which is
Yes.
like playing like just a bunch of old fun cards, just setting and passing. And I think like logging into Macedo on your phone, like imagine you're on a commute and you're just load up Macedo on your phone and you just want to play a quick game and you can like someone summons a Halka Fibrax, like that's the whole commute. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's not as like I guess like fun for sure. I think maybe from what I heard, like you're able to play band cards now. Like you can create something. I'm not sure. I haven't like kept up that much, but from what I've seen, like you're able to play Pot of Greed in like decks now or something like that, as long as you create like this like custom room for it. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But they should introduce like actual game modes for that. I feel like that'll be
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's coming, and we can now craft ban cards in like a week or something, 9 days. It's you're able to craft all these old cards, which by the way, every single good old school like ban card you can think of, like Pot, like Graceful, all of those cards are ultra rares, by the way. So you know, if you've been waiting for a classic format, enjoy.
Any content ideas with that? Like what if we what if you craft like these old decks and play or something like that? And you have any
Yeah, I
ideas?
mean, I think content-wise, there's just infinite potential for having old cards being allowed, right? Like you can do any sort of historical format you want in the game, literally any format you can think of. Now, it's a bit of an issue with erratas and card priority because historically the game's rules has changed significantly. I'm pretty sure like Necro Valley, for example, is a card that has worked like 7 different ways.
Right.
Raikou, things like that. Did it target? Does it not target? I don't even know anymore. There's a bunch of like weird ways that cards work, so I don't know. But I think like these are just like teething and sort of growing pains. Like I don't think it matters that much if you have prio or not, right? I think like the idea is that you have like an old school format, right? Like they can work on like the coding of like exactly if prio works or doesn't. I mean, it obviously is a big deal if prio doesn't work, but like for the most part, if you have like the older game to play with, like as long as the card pool is old school, I think that helps a lot of players, right? Because I don't think like casual Andy from like Tokyo logging into Master, having a chill game on the way, like on the subway, is going to care about the difference between, does my Raikou target or not. I don't think it's super relevant for like your average player. So I hope like the faster they implement it, the better, and they can work out and iron out the details as it goes on. But yeah, having infinite new ways to play the game is like, that's just crazy content. You can do unlimited format, you can do traditional format, you can do old school legacy format.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I think there's infinite content potential, and I'm definitely gonna be like, I'm a huge fan of like retro formats and like alternative formats. So I think it'll be cool to like build those on Master Duel and play it, right? Like imagine playing like Fire Fist, like or playing like these really cool
deck you thought of. That's like out of all the historical decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, that's the one that came to
no, there's a combo version, the 3-axis version,
yeah, the 3-axis version, my brother.
The 3-axis version is cool.
Summon the level 3, summon the Leopard, go for the synchro. We have only 300 seconds.
Not the monkey version, I promise. Not the set 5.
Oh, you don't want to go card D set torrential?
No, brother, no. We go combo, we go good, my man. You already know.
Yeah.
Cheating's never fail. So I would go back to the point, because I was watching your stream during the Sabaton when you got in call with the Moist Critical. Okay, because I'm a huge fan. Only God knows how I love that man. He's literally Jesus. Like if I don't have a picture in my room about like Moist Critical, it's on me. Like anyway.
Nash, didn't you? No, like you bought like Moist's merch too. I know.
Yes, I bought Moist merch as well, my brother.
You bought a white shirt. Nice. Okay.
the Black Jesus, my man. The Black Jesus. Obviously, I'm one of them. Anyway, I want to quote what he said on stream. The day Konami will start supporting Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Scene is the day Moist Esports will join the table. Brother, stop for a second. I literally screamed like a fucking bitch. Like I was ripping my pants. Brother, I could not explain the emotion that I had when the man himself said the day Konami will start supporting is the day Moist Critical will join the table. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone wants, right? Like, at least from the competitive scene, we want to see like, I mean, it's a complete fever dream right now, but you look at like League of Legends, you look at the insane like tournaments that they put on, the venues they hire, the stream quality that they put up. Pokemon Worlds was recent, for example. That's like the closest thing we have that we can compare to. Unbelievable levels of production and support for the game and stuff like that. And, I don't think we get anywhere near that support for Yu-Gi-Oh! Admittedly, at the last World Championship, there were hints of esports, I think. Ooh. I believe like a I think if you look at like the caster desk from the 2019 World Championship, there was like some sort of esports sponsor. There was like a McDonald's sponsor. Intel was a sponsor. These are like big brands, you know. So there's definitely investment to make Yu-Gi-Oh like at least maybe not like a competitive esport per se, but definitely put it on the grand stage. And I'm hoping in the lead up to the next World Championship, we see like, you know, if they do what they did in 2019 and make it better than that, like I think like we're heading for like a good direction.
Yeah.
We're still a long way behind all of these other companies like Blizzard and Nintendo and Riot. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is like
Riot is
leagues
crazy.
behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, now, Farfa, do you know the game Osu?
dream.
Do you know the game
Yeah.
Osu?
Mhm.
Okay, you know that shit is an esport game, right?
No
Oh, is
way.
it? That's an esport.
you and most critical investing, right? You know that, right?
Oh,
and if
really?
you don't know, because I'm fucking sick, why Yu-Gi-Oh is not part of this shit? Like you literally have to move the mouse following the music, and that's a fucking esport.
Guitar Hero for the clicking, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
wild
yeah.
to me. It's wild to me because I know, like, I believe in a couple like weeks or months, League of Legends are gonna have their World Championship in actually Madison Square Garden in New York City. Like, man, dude, I can't wait for the day in which Konami does something on that scale. It could be absolutely cool. Yeah, I mean, the World Championship, I think, is their way to, I guess, show us what's possible. It should be pretty cool.
I'm gonna be really disappointed if the next World Championship for Yu-Gi-Oh isn't like some crazy next level, you know, picturesque marketing stunt. You know, I really think the game has so much potential for that, and I don't necessarily think it's even about money, right? Like the
Right.
cash prizing and stuff has been a topic for so long, and that's really what makes or breaks an esport, right? Is like
Right.
the money involved, because we know like the amount of prize on the line with like Riot events and stuff like that is, you know, to the moon, right? Pokemon, I don't know how crazy it is, but I know it's like
It's over $1 million,
is
right?
it cash
Like,
prizing in Pokemon or
I believe it's over $1 million in pricing for like World Championship in
cash?
Pokemon. Yeah, and of total
mean-
of total cash prizes given. You're playing the wrong game.
Yeah, well,
I
Yeah,
should
you
summon
know.
Charizard, my man. I should summon Charizard.
Yeah.
That's
And
all I'm
the
saying.
funny thing is like Yu-Gi-Oh players like don't play for money, right? Like
don't.
that's like if you go to Worlds,
I
you
mean,
are okay. Listen, you and your
Have you
illegal Iron Man like underground matches, dude. That doesn't count. Right? In terms of actual Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yep.
Most people don't play this game for like the money involved, right?
Mhm.
And people who go to Worlds and stuff, I mean, the prizes are great, and you can make a decent amount off that if you're willing to like try and vend and sell it. But that's besides the point, right? The point is like they have the player base, they have the drive, they have the people who are like willing to like put in the time and effort to make like a good like competitive event.
Mhm.
They just need to like promote it and have it like look good. And you know, I think like while YCSs as an example and nationals have been extremely fun and enjoyable to attend, there's just so much still remaining to make that even bigger, right? Like, okay, cool, we've got live streams for them, most of them.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic. I mean, why wasn't Niagara streamed, for example? There's still like improvements to be made, right?
Yeah.
Like
What do you
from
mean
what I
Niagara was streamed?
Dude,
I made the stream of Niagara.
Dunesh is a DB
Yeah, that-
rogue gameplay. Yeah.
reading
I
the
made the
blog
stream
post
of Niagara.
is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the level we're at. So
Yeah.
I think that there's just so much potential involved when you just compare it side by side to other card games, right? Like I
agree.
think that's like the disappointing thing is when you know that there's like so much potential there, and it isn't just being fulfilled. Because YCSs are there for marketing, right? They're there to
Yes.
advertise and promote the game. But things like YCSs and nationals, they don't advertise and promote the game to new players. These are just like if you like, no one hears of a YCS that isn't playing Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Right.
Whereas you look at something like Pokemon, everyone knew that there was Pokemon Worlds on because that was
Yes.
advertised everywhere.
I
You
don't
know?
know
So
a
it's like, how
single
are
thing
you
about
going to get
Pokemon.
into Yu-Gi-Oh? How are you going to get into Yu-Gi-Oh through a YCS being advertised? That's not going to affect the average like random nerd who like kind of has an interest in, you know, Pokemon, for example. They're not going to know anything about like
Yep.
a Yu-Gi-Oh YCS, right? Like that, there has to be better ways to promote and advertise our game, and to bring more people in.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like even when Worlds like it was at my locals, they were actually putting it on the TV. So we would like actually play our matches, and during like siding, we would like be watching because it's like it was actually super entertaining because of like the hype around it. But I think it has to do with like if they work more with like the creators, I think it'd be really cool. Like I can imagine you like Farfa like commentating Worlds. Like that would be freaking insane. Like that would be insane. You know what I'm saying?
I would post Duel everywhere.
sadly,
I would literally buy the costume of a fish and go to Japan just to let FARFA notice.
That'd be insane.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that's on the table yet. But
Mhm.
on the plus side, you know, they do a lot of stuff with content creators and things like that, which is great to see. But man, free advertising we're trying to give them, and they don't let us. You're not allowed to film in venues. Like you're not allowed to vlog.
There is actually a pass for, but I think it's
the
only
pass is,
for...
bro. The pass is a myth. I know Gage applied for it, and I think he got denied or something. Like it's like a myth.
My brother, I'm gonna spam Konami before coming to Pasadena.
All right,
The shit has to
definitely
come in
don't
Miami.
do that.
I want the pass. Konami, my boss.
I mean, if Gage is being denied filming rights, then you know, like,
Yeah.
like he is the vlog guy, right? Like,
he knows how to
next
use a
like,
camera.
What, Ruggles?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because there's Brazil vlogs by content creators who I will not out. If you know, you know. There's Brazil. There's vlogs from.
If you know,
but that was allowed. But that's the thing. They let them do that. But
totally.
But in other YCSs, you're not allowed to do that. It's like there's no consistency in these rules.
Yes.
And you know, we don't need to get into semantics of like, is that good? Is that bad? The point is, it's like we're just trying to like promote your game for free. Like, you know,
literally free.
Going into how do you make a Yu-Gi-Oh YCS vlog if you can't film? Like how? Like, okay, I can film eating Five Guys outside the venue after round 7. Like, is that content for Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, no.
Bro, like I was at the Philly regional this past weekend, and I would walk outside the venue back and forth to like film in between my rounds. I'm like, hey guys, I just lost to Mystic Mine. We're at ground 4. And I'm outside like in the cold. I'm like, all right, here we go again. Round 6, go outside. It's like it's so frustrating.
I see people mention things about privacy laws and stuff. It's absolutely nothing to do with that. Every other con, every other major convention that happens.
If you're
Pokemon...
on Facebook, you have no fucking privacy. Like,
all right, Alex Jones, calm down. TwitchCon, all of these different Gen Con, Anime Expo, all of these different things. There's no privacy concerns there that anyone has to talk about. That's not a thing. People vlog and record there all the time. You know, Europe is the exact same. We just had TwitchCon Amsterdam. People walking around, live streaming, hundreds and hundreds of different content creators, live streaming and vlogging themselves. I don't know what this privacy concern is. I may be completely ignorant to this, but I just as an onlooker, as someone who is like spectating this, it's hard to understand how I can't film at a YCS. Gage can't film at a YCS. Team Samurai, whoever it might be, all these good content creators that want to make good vlogs and good content for you are technically not allowed to be doing this. But like these other countries and events and stuff that these happen in, you can do this. I don't understand. Like I want to understand, and I feel like I'm not really being unreasonable here, right?
Right. Yeah, I think hopefully like something happens where like it paves the way for some sort of communication. Hey, maybe this GUU cast will, if someone's listening in, tapping in, and maybe they can
FARFA, my man,
open the door.
I want your word on that. If you get the pass, film in Pasadena. Will you attend to Pasadena?
Pasadena is my wife's birthday. Unfortunately, I can't go.
Well, your wife could see California.
Come with your wife. Come with your wife.
What a great holiday!
You can literally film her cutting the cake at a YCS table. It's gonna be insane.
Like on the feature stage. No, that'd be great. Honestly, I think I can't think of anything better for a grown adult woman to do than to go to a venue filled with Yu-Gi-Oh players. Just you know.
Dude, I always feel so bad for like people who take their significant others to like events. Because like I see them chilling in the corner, sitting on the floor,
so bored,
on their phone. I'm just like, yo, like I almost want to say like, well, yo, like, are you okay? Like, like I don't know. It's so sad sometimes, but I mean, I guess they just really support them, so it's understandable.
Yeah,
No, Farfar, what's up?
I was just gonna say like, you know, long term, I hope that we get some positive. I don't know if like change is the word, but definitely some progress with regards to. I mean, I'm proud of all the content creators that they've selected to make content for Konami. That's great. I think they're all doing a great job. I just think like there's a lot of restrictions in place that don't need to really be there, at least in this day and age, that don't really make sense when paralleled with all these other conventions and games and stuff that are happening around us. And, that's one way to like make Yu-Gi-Oh a bigger brand is just your content creators, right?
100%. I totally agree. And I think like it's crazy how far the Yugi tubing atmosphere or like sphere has grown. Like MBT just hit 100K subscribers. Like huge shout outs to him. And you're like, bro, Farfar, you've been consistently hitting 2K, 3K viewers. Like you're like in the top 1,000, right? Like in terms of just Twitch streamers, like of all sakes. So like it's crazy how far we've came without the support from Konami. So imagine if we do get the support, right? Like how far we could even progress even more. And I think that's like a testament to like the people we have in the community. Like we have a lot of really great content creators. So if we do get that support from Konami, I think it can be something even crazier. Like this game could literally transcend. So I think that's what makes me excited, but it's also like a lot super sad, you know, when we think about stuff that, you know, could happen but has.
Yeah, and in the end, like the competitive scene just benefits so much from content creators. I don't, you know, a lot of content creators, or rather, I know a lot of competitive players sometimes, you know, really dismiss content creators and stuff because, you know, we don't know as much about the game and things like that. But, you know, content creators like bring in a lot of the competition. You know, a lot of people who start out and want to learn about Yu-Gi-Oh from a very basic level will go through something like Team Sam deck profiles and stuff like that.
Bro,
right?
that's what
like,
I did.
That's how...
Simo too, bro. I learned how to link summon, link Shogun from Simo's video. I actually told Alex this. I was like, bro, I hope you realize that link summoning video you made. I had to watch that. Like, I had no idea how to link summon, bro.
I might have a stupid take. So tell me if it's a stupid take, okay? I want you to be deadly honest. Now,
oh boy.
Why Konami should invest in Twitch streamers that usually speak about Yu-Gi-Oh when if you are watching a Yu-Gi-Oh Twitch streamer, you are already interested?
Yeah, no, good question, which is why I think they've made a concerted effort to get other creators on, right? Like they there's like a bunch of Pokemon YouTubers and stuff like that.
Yeah, do you remember Crip Parian from Hearthstone? He did a thing for Duel Links too.
Duel Links. Yeah. I mean, they're doing a good job, right? And I think that's important. You know, I think they should have you know their homegrown Yu-Gi-Oh content creators doing stuff for them, getting promoted and doing product reveals. And I think having, you know, other like, you know, random Pokemon YouTubers do a box opening. Random, you know, Magic the Gathering YouTubers, streamers, like maybe like play for like 2 hours, get their audience maybe interested in stuff like that. I think there's they should absolutely. I think it's both, right? Like if you look at my old box openings and stuff that I did with Konami back in the day, I revealed Duel Overload, I think it was, and that video had like 150k views or something, right? Like that's a massive number in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think you have to support both avenues, right? Your Yu-Gi-Oh! Creators and like outside creators as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on.
The topic that everyone has been covering this entire week for all the ban lists.
Once.
All right, Nash, give us the rundown.
No, like, okay, so...
He's like, I gotta smoke.
I gotta have a drag first. It all started when they brought back Fairy Tale Snow.
I mean, if you really think about it, right? I saw you tweeted earlier. You were like, bro, all these events have happened in like the past, like what, 6 months we haven't had a ban list. Like, where is it coming? When is it coming? What's your take on it? Do you know, are you going to YC's Utrecht? I guess that's the first question. And also second, oh, you are. Let's go. And I guess the second one is like, you know, like the ban list, right? Like, what's your take on it? Do you think we need a ban list? That's the first question. Second is if we, what's up, Nash?
No, like we got 2 Master Duel ban lists. A Queen has died. Magnus Carlsen quitting chess games. 2 OCG once, but still nothing for the TCG. What's up on that?
I think like the you know, do we need a ban list? Do we not need a ban list? I think that's like not relevant in the grand scheme of things, because the question should really be like, okay, if there is a ban list or if there isn't a ban list, that needs to be communicated. I don't think it's unreasonable to have like, you know, so I think, okay, so some context is required here. Some people might not be aware, but once upon a time, back in the day, TCG and OCG ban lists used to be one unified combined list. We would have them released at the same time for OCG and TCG, which was bizarre because they were 6 months ahead of us in product. So that kind of didn't really, that was a bit weird, right? But we knew exactly when that ban list was going to drop. Further down the line, eventually in 2013, I think they separated the ban list. So TCG and OCG then split and had their own separate unique formats with their own different card pools. OCG had different card pools already, but now there was also different restrictions in both regions because it didn't make sense for Konami to hit a card in OCG that was dominating, and then for it to literally be released on release in the TCG, banned. I think Temple of the Kings was a card that was printed and released in the TCG, banned. I think Rooster, Firefest Rooster was released limited, I believe. There's some examples of this. Further down the line, I think it was 2018 or 2017, we split into quarterly ban lists, and that has been the pattern, and that has been the norm for the last 4+ years at least, where we would have a ban list around about rough months here, but generally we'd have like sort of a Christmas ban list, December, January. We'd have one around about March, April. We'd have another one about July, August. And then another one, I think like October is how that works out,
Yeah.
or back to December or something like that.
I
So there
mean,
would
who
be
knows
like
better than
predicted
you.
period.
You have a spreadsheet about ban list.
Yeah, exactly. And then further than that, they would give you a date listed on the thing, giving you an approximation as to when you can expect that ban list. It would say no sooner than X date. For the last 2 ban lists now, they've removed that completely. So not only are we are currently in a period of time for the ban list where, based off of the patterns, and listen to what I'm saying right now. It's crazy that I have to like go through these like, descriptions of like patterns and things like that, right? Just to describe this stuff. But that is how how completely insane it's gone, that we have to like create spreadsheets and things to follow these things. Basically, I think what they really need to do is, number one, communicate when we're getting ban lists and stuff like that. And even if there is no need for a ban list like right now, tell us and say, hey, there's not going to be any changes, or at the very least say on this date, expect a list. Or what is, I think, the smartest way to do it is, for XYZ events, you will be playing under these forbidden limited lists. I think
That's a good
when events are announced, they announce those events with the format in mind. Right, so like they just announced Utrecht, for example. They announced Utrecht. They should say YCS Utrecht would be played under the May 2022 Forbidden Limited list, right? And I think that would help everyone prepare. That helps, because like there's a lot of people right now who are kind of in a bit of a limbo, right? Like, okay, this next ban list is probably not going to shake up that much because Tier and Sprite are a new deck. But imagine the next ban list after this, right? Where we can probably expect Tier and Sprite will be, I don't know if murdered is like the right term, but they generally tend to hit the best decks harder the second time round.
Yes.
So, when we come round to like January for the next ban list, imagine there's like a YCS in January. And then there's like a YCS that's like 3-4 weeks away, and then we don't know what list is going. And how do you prepare for that,
bro?
Right?
I'm in that spot right now. It's frustrating. Like, I'm going to YCS Ecuador, and it's like Hani, Gunther, and I we're teaming up, and they hit me. They messaged me yesterday. They're like, bro, do we just start testing this format? We're like, bro, I don't think the balance is coming. So we're like, we gotta start testing.
And basically, so to summarize, basically, and I'll let you go on, Nesh. There's they need to understand, like, players work, players have lives, they can't commit to play testing. As soon as a ban list drops and then play like 80 hours a week. Shout outs to Hoban. That's just like, we can't, like, players don't do that, right? So I don't think it's completely unreasonable to have ban lists timed again. Or at the very least, like, go by event to event base, go through an event basis, right?
Right.
I think that just helps everyone, right? No, do we need a ban list right now? I don't know. Who cares? The point is, I want to know if there is going to be a ban list for YCS Utrecht coming up.
You basically are answering the next topic of our podcast, which was, do you think Konami is supposed to let us know and should be more communicative about the social medias and interact more with the people in the community? And I think you already answered that. The answer is yes. So Konami, please let us know. So
yes, Nash, that's how it works. Like,
I don't think there's ever any pushback to like having more communication, because the more communication is always good. And I tried my hardest to get this off the ground, because a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, maybe, I sat down and I had an interview with Matt Bell, right? Like someone who works with like the product development team. And it was a great interview. It was really popular. A lot of people appreciate it. We got to go through some actual like game design philosophies and stuff that they talked about. What's your thoughts on FTKs? How do you address ban lists? And they answered some really like important questions for the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene. And just, we never really got to go develop that, and I think that was a huge step in the right direction that I was really happy with. But we didn't get an opportunity to do that again. We never had a chance to have a sit down interview with a developer, have a talk with someone. Like, it would be cool to just have like Jerome right here sitting where I am right now and talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And saying like, like he was the mastermind behind, was it like Nibiru, Ruler, and Shifter or something? It'd be cool to like pick his brain and listen, like, okay, what did he think about it? What's your thought process? How are you designing new cards? Like, these are all just cool things that people want to hear, right? We don't need to agree on it. Like, we don't like, yo, why'd you print that card, bro? Like, I get it, but it'd be cool
I have to like Yu-Gi-Oh, like, more like, if they would do the same thing as Magic does, like bump up the guy who created the card, like, the history of the artist, who drew the specific card, like, you can meet the artist at a Comic-Con. Like, I would like Yu-Gi-Oh to do that. Because this would give an additional lore to the card game, and I think that's really missing.
Yeah, it's crazy to hear. I think when Matt in the video, in the initial interview, which I really recommend you go watch. I think he like specifically mentioned like the idea and like behind like the dangers, and it was like, okay, so we're thinking of these monsters that sort of like go like kind of peekaboo, they like kind of jump out at you and then they hide. That was like the logic behind how they designed cards, and it's so interesting to hear that, just simple things like this.
Peekaboo,
Give
there's
so
a curious.
much flavor and life to the game.
Brother, you have to fucking explain me why the dangers works under Vanity Ruler, because I cannot. Because I cannot. Like, my mind is exploding, okay? Now you have to explain me what's the fucking logic of the dangers works under every possible floodgate, under Vanity Rulers, if they cannot special summon.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the ruling and lore of Vanity's Fiend versus Dangers is part of, what a Chupacabra represents in mythological Latin American lore or something like that. But I'll get back to you on that, Nesh. Sorry. But it was so cool to listen to someone who designed like cards and someone who makes like product, like talk about what the logic was behind how they make cards and stuff like that, right? And they let us just record and film that and put that on YouTube, and just everyone like enjoyed that, and that was a great thing. Talking about things like ban list and how they approach the game and things like that. Just communication like that is so precious. And I think that's one thing that anyone who plays other games that they love and appreciate is when developers and stuff come around and they explain their logic behind patch notes and buffs and nerfs to different champions and heroes in different games.
Dude, I listened to all of that for like League of Legends, like Hearthstone, that they would have like those interviews during like the game cons. Like the Hearthstone developer would come on. They'd be like, "Yeah, we had to like patch or address these cards because like it's just like way too broken," or like all.
Imagine they did that for the ban list.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
I think it would have been insane. Yeah,
like
explain every logic so I can actually roast them on my streaming. Like, that shit would be crazy.
You're the reason why Konami doesn't do this.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the logic, right? They don't do this because they know that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players would tear them apart. But the thing is, like,
get someone competent. Get someone competent.
Jeez.
Whoa. Okay. So the thing is, they have to understand that they are going to get a lot of pushback on everything like that they do with the player base. But at the same time, I think like they can't like dismiss player base and be like, because I've heard people like rationalizing, for example, that they don't talk to players and they don't communicate with the Yu-Gi-Oh player base because we'll just go look at their Twitter. Every post they make, like for example, I go on the Yu-Gi-Oh card Twitter right now, it's like, hey guys, here's some new what is this here? Is it like the weekly spotlight? Here's some variant artworks from the Tins of the Pharaoh Gods. Here's all art Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. Ban list, mod check. Ban list when? Ban list? Where is the ban list? Give me the list. My favorite artwork is the ban list. Like, okay, I get it. Like, players are idiots.
Literally an account.
Bro, are you talking about your own tweets? I've seen you tweet at them, bro.
I've been tweeting at them every day, to be fair. Respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
So like, I guess like from their perspective, they see people spamming their social media with this and they're like, okay, well, I mean, this is a futile effort. Why do we try and communicate with these people? But you can't put the blame on the players when, like I mentioned earlier, it's not hard or difficult to just ask for like very basic communication, like, hey, what is going on with YCS Utrecht? It's in 3 weeks. Is it current list or is there a new list? Should we wait? Right? Ban list or no ban list, it doesn't matter. Just say like, okay, what list will this be used? A new one or the current one, right? I don't think too much to ask.
I totally agree. Because I think like it would just give so many players ease of mind. They can book their travel knowing that they have, like, and safely prepare. It just like makes the experience so much better. I don't think anyone goes like, yo, I love it when they release the ban list the week of the YCS. Like, no one ever goes that. So, yeah. I mean,
it's just respectful of the player base. They need to understand that they have like an aging player base, right? Like many Yu-Gi-Oh players have been playing this game for a long time and have been playing this game since the beginning. Many of us are, we have like, getting families and kids and jobs and
so
careers.
You agree with me? This is not anymore a children card game.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, brother. Agree
yeah,
with me. I have
look
literally 30-years-old men coming for coaching to me, to Pac, that are married, that have jobs, that cannot invest in they cannot invest time in Yu-Gi-Oh. This is not anymore a children card game.
Yeah. Like, what do you want? What do you want people to do? Like, like if I have like a wife and like a kid and like a family and like I'm working on 9 to 5, like I want to test for an event that I want to take, use my precious holidays for in 3 weeks time. The least they can do is just tell me which list it's going to be with, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? Yeah.
And the thing is, like, we play the game regardless of the prize support, right? Like, I think, and it's crazy because I feel like the Yu-Gi-Oh player base is so good at taking like bullshit, for lack of a better word. It's just like we're just so used to like just getting mistreated. I feel like we have such a toxic relationship with Konami, but it shouldn't be that way. I feel like it should really be like more collaborative more than anything else, right? Like just because I feel like it will lead to more innovation within the space, and I think that will be like really cool. Like there's so much we can do, and I think it starts at like the content creators. Like honestly, like a lot of the stuff that you were suggesting, if they just hired you or like talk to you or even like, you know, pay you for like a consulting 1 or 2 hours, I feel like so much can come out of that.
Yes,
and so much like cool changes could happen, right?
The thing is like
This man,
as well. That's
he's a
really
content.
the bizarre thing is if you look at Pokemon, which is I don't want to keep saying like Pokemon, but it's the closest parallel that we have to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? A lot of their content creators in Pokemon TCG literally just end up getting hired by the company, right?
Yeah.
Because, like that's how much.
I was watching Worlds, and I think her name is Caracloud Blue. I forgot her name, but she was actually asked to commentate Pokemon Worlds, and I was like, bro, that's sick. And she's originally a creator. She like opens like packs, like Pokemon packs and stuff like that. And she was like asked to like commentate. Yeah, Blue. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's really dope. Like, imagine you just love the game, you love Pokemon, you open packs, you grew up on this, and now all of a sudden you're commentating on like the stage. Like that's dope. So
Because they understand that the people who have dedicated like literal livelihoods to creating content for their game are so well invested that no one knows more like about the game than the people who are creating content or playing competitively professionally and traveling to every event. Like these are the people that you need to be talking to and communicate to improve your game, right? Like you need to be talking to people like you, to people like us. You know, what do you think of like the current format? How do we like design these cards? What do you want to see more of, and all these kind of things? Like these are the questions like people like you can answer. People like all of the big name players. There's too many to name right now. These are all like the kind of players that they can like talk to and have like one-to-ones with and understand these things with, right? In terms of product, in terms of communication, event planning. These are kind of things like they can definitely get feedback from content creators and stuff like that, right? There's they just got to talk to their players, and I don't really feel like
slide in the DMs. Bro,
Yeah.
Konami, if you're listening, you guys heard it already. We're open. We want to talk. We want to make this game even greater, even better. That sounded like that. That sounded so. That was such a weird slogan I said, but like we want to talk. We want to make it happen. So if you're listening, it's all in good faith. Like I think we have a very we have same motives. Yeah.
I think like Konami sometimes like takes criticism badly, and admittedly from the Yu-Gi-Oh player base there is a lot of just garbage criticism, right? There's people who just hate for the sake of hating, who just shit on the company consistently, no matter what, and like obviously that isn't like constructive behavior. But at the same time, they do have to recognize there is like a lot of like legitimate concerns that is being communicated to them rationally through content creators, through Twitch streamers, through YouTubers, through their competitive players, that are like genuine concerns and frustrations with the modern game. Floodgates, ban list timing, event planning, all these kind of things. These are all like different things that they can communicate and talk to their players about. And it comes out of like realistically, they need to remember that it comes from a place of love, right?
Yes.
Everyone here wants the game to succeed. Everyone here wants the game to do well.
Preach. Yes. That's exactly it. Yeah, like we all have a genuine like love for this game.
I love this game.
Yeah.
Like this game actually saved my life, and I'm not joking if I say.
Yeah.
Like I'm at a point that every time I talk about the game at deep perspective, from my personal perspective, I feel like crying every time.
Yeah.
Like I have this sort of feeling like I'm choking myself. I feel like crying. It's strong because
you're not even like the only person. There's so many people who literally can say like Yu-Gi-Oh like saved their life, right?
Yes.
Like people have had like so many people have been through like medical issues or personal problems and traumas, and like Yu-Gi-Oh was always like that consistent rock throughout their whole life. When people are like criticize Yu-Gi-Oh and they criticize the game, it's because they want it to be amazing, because they owe so much of their life and their happiness to like what Yu-Gi-Oh has done. And I think that's a commendable thing, and people would just want the game to be the best that it can be.
Bro, like if you really think about it, like I have a friend who said that like Yu-Gi-Oh kept them off the streets, like he said that, like a bunch of his friends were doing very suspect things, and like Yu-Gi-Oh
He came on my stream and he said if it wasn't for Yu-Gi-Oh he'd be in prison.
Yeah.
So
right.
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh like literally has like saved people for sure. You okay, Nash? Are you all right, brother?
Yeah.
He's having a moment.
He's having a moment. Yeah. I mean, I've spoken to Ness a lot, like in private, and so I know where he's coming from. So it's a lot, man, dude. Yeah. So like I said, at the end of the day, it all comes from a place of love. We really just it's all constructive feedback. That's why like I never try to bash on Konami too much. I know like sometimes they're trying, but I think if they just take maybe a moment just to listen, I think a lot can really happen. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about card design real quick. You know, I feel like cards right now, cards are.
Oh, now you're really gonna make Nash cry. We start talking about how Mystic Minded.
Card design. Nash is really gonna be like, yo, fuck Mystic Mind.
You touch a very bro.
Mystic
Bro,
Mind.
that was my choke point. That was my choke point. When you mentioned saving life of the people, you don't get it. Like this shit actually saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like that, you know, that is a thing that like many people have experienced through Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's crazy. All right, what are we talking about?
Card design.
Card design.
I mean, cards.
Give me your best Mystic Mine Arata pack. Is that what we're doing?
No, I think
if you can design any card today.
Yeah, if you can make a card today, what do you think we need? Like, what's a card do you think we need right now in the game? I think it's the question.
Oof, I think we need less cards, right?
Okay.
I think is what I would say, right? I've tried to like identify the root cause of many of Yu-Gi-Oh's problems and frustrations with the modern game. And I feel like it comes down to like two root causes. And I find that it's the access of the extra deck through generic means to then enter the main deck. Bridging points like Halka Fibrax, Summon Sorceress, these have all been, these kinds of cards have always been like extremely polarizing cards because they create like, because of Yu-Gi-Oh's massive card pool, they create these like infinite potentials for just complete degeneracy to happen. Yeah. And the second root cause of a lot of frustrations in Modern, Curious as well as another Modern cards, I guess, that people have been talking a lot about.
It's basically generic. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, so these generic extra deck cards that can be accessed through generic means, which then get you into the main deck to access specific points and cards, I think is probably, it almost always ends in like
disaster.
Problematic issues.
Yeah.
I did like I did a little experiment on stream and I went through the ban list and I went through every single banned extra deck monster, and every single banned extra deck monster can almost be fit into basically two major categories. They either tutor or access the main deck, or they floodgate you.
Oh yeah, like LP, Sork, all those cards. Yeah,
that's a very interesting take.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. I never think about it honestly, like about the two major classes. And you know which major like do you know which card is still legal and it's still a floodgate? Duel.
Duel, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you know, you can try this. I feel like there was a third category for some reason, but I'm scrolling through the ban list right now and I'm looking at like what is it? Why are all of these cards here? And I'm trying to think like they're almost always all of these extra deck cards have one thing in common. They access the main deck in a generic way, or they floodgate you and they stop you from playing. And that is like almost every extra deck monster. And it's like time and time again, they keep designing these same cards that do this exact specific interaction. And it's like I feel like they don't learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a frustrating point. Nobody wants to be completely locked out of the game turn one, which is why I think floodgates are really bad for the game. And then when you like compound that with, you know, comboing and doing these crazy 10-minute combos, you know, people complain like, you know, the average casual player seems to be like, oh, why do you hate floodgates? Are you okay with 10-minute combos? Well, they don't understand and recognize that the worst 10-minute combo Omni Negate decks, the best ones historically ended on a floodgate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they sit and they combo forever, and then they end on like a Buster Lock. They end on a Dweller. They end. Right, exactly, right. You know, so
Protoss.
Absolutely. It's this combination of cards that I think causes like the major frustrations in basically all of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I think if you were to eliminate a lot of these root issues, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be in a healthier place, but I don't think it would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the power creep is happening too fast at this rate?
The power creep?
Do you think the power creep is happening too fast? Like printing cards overpower, like broken than the last card. Like for example, triple tactical talent over a card that like I don't know, change of art that has literally the same effects of three banded cards like snatch, steal, take the monster, or look at your opponent and like a card like I don't know, Mystic Mind. The power creep is happening too fast. Like, what do you think about that?
There's like this really strange paradox that they have themselves in, right? Because how do you sell new product, right? You have to like make like newer cards and newer interesting cards, and when you don't have rotation, the best way to sell product is to make more powerful cards, right? but where's the end point? Right? You can't just have
Yes.
every new set be a banger like Power of the Elements, or be like an absolute, game-changing set like Power of the Elements, like Burst of Destiny
Rise of
last year,
Destiny,
right?
right? Yeah, Rise. There's a
Yeah.
lot. Duelist
sorry, but
Alliance. Yeah.
So
sorry,
there has
but
to there has to stop a point at that stage, right? Surely. So what do you do? Like they are caught in this paradox where we have to sell product and make new and interesting decks, but they also have to be stronger to top what's currently available. Otherwise, no one will play them. Like, what do you do?
Right. I think it's like so interesting because like if you really think about it, the new set that's coming out, right? Darkwing's Blast. They're printing DD Crows on crack. Like these cards are like ridiculous. Like there's
I
no
haven't read any of the new stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm not
I'll give you a
surprised to
spoiler.
hear that.
One of them says if your opponent controls a monster, banish a dark or light monster in your opponent's graveyard, summon this card, which is a 2500 body by the way, and face search any dragon from deck to hand.
Are these
Oh,
the
by the
busted
way,
cards?
I have a list of all the
Bisted.
all
They're
the
called
cards that are
Bisteds.
coming out.
Yeah.
Bisted, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? No way. Any dragon, anything. Search Phantasmi, search whatever. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because I remember reading Dragoon for the first time.
Yeah.
And that card sucks,
Yeah.
right? But like
Yeah.
2 years ago when we read Dragoon, it was like, this is absurd.
Yes.
But here we are, like, oh, this is not even good anymore. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think you could bring up a good point because at some point we have to reach an equilibrium, right? Where the cards are getting stronger, stronger, and stronger. But at what point the cards are at their fullest potential and everything is just broken? Like, what happens? Like, do we revolve to like a version of GOAT format where everything's just like pot agreed, like, or on, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting.
So that's the problem with the ban list and no rotation when you have like the modern game, right? Because
now
the
we
ban
talk
list,
about rotation. Yeah, yeah, I love the rotation.
so the ban list is not really there to facilitate like balancing, which is what theoretically the ban list is there for. It's there to remove old product, right? And let people play new product. Like, when was the last time? Like, for example, there's there's like a specific like meme archetype. Ritual Beast, for example, was.
Ritual Beast
Pretty
almost got Terror to
it.
World.
Right. So the thing, they like really hurt that deck, almost unnecessarily, because there was a new format coming. But they limited Canahawk, which essentially killed like almost all of the combos by limiting Canahawk. And then they brought it back to 3 years later after the deck was just unplayable and power crept out the wazoo, right? So I think like, I mean, is that what's going to happen now? Like, when are we going to see, God, what's like a recent deck that just got killed? Like Zodiac, for example, got killed again for like the first time and for like the second time in 3 years. Like, when are they going to unban Dryden?
Yeah, they're going to unban Eva.
Right?
I mean,
yeah. Like, are they going to unban Ava like 4 years from now when decks are just better than Drytron?
Harp Horror is a really good one.
Yeah, Harp Horror. Like, Harp Horror might come back in like 3-4 years when we have decks and archetypes that are so strong that Orcust will just be at full power but never be as good, right? As whatever we have in 4 years. I'm terrified to live in a format where Zoo is at full power and like isn't the best deck.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And you've been through a lot of formats.
But you said you don't like the rotation. So what's your take on that? How do we fix it?
I think most Yu-Gi-Oh most competitive players like are fine with the modern game, and they just. I think modern like competitive players are going to play the game regardless. Right? It doesn't matter what the format is, how bad it is, how good it is. I think they're always going to enjoy and like play modern Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's fine. I just think that like it's too far gone to try and mess with like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I think like an alternative format of sort would help a lot. I think pushing more like Edison, pushing Go, pushing. Maybe a rotation format for Yu-Gi-Oh, but something that runs alongside the main game, not a replacement, not a replacement rotation format. But just as a secondary format, right? I think Yu-Gi-Oh is like the only card game that literally just has like one playable format, right? You look at Magic, they have like Magic has like
Commander,
69 formats.
Yeah, Commander, Modern, like they have so many different stuff. Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I like it, what they do, to be honest. I'm not totally against it, to be honest. I have to tell you. I don't know. I don't have my answer yet on how to fix the power creep, to be honest, of the new cards being printed. But I will come up with some ideas, or we can all come up with some ideas.
Yeah,
also,
I think I think rotation has so much potential. If not to replace the same game, because again, you say the R word in Yu-Gi-Oh and people go crazy, right? Because that's like one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest pulls of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, hey, here's this random card from 2009 that's good again. By the way, they're almost always floodgates. Anyway, so that's like the pull and the cool like thing about modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, oh, these like cards from years ago can like synergize again. I mean, look at Josh's list from Euros. He played Econ again, right? How the hell is
Yeah.
Econ still somehow good, you know?
Yeah.
And he's getting top 8 at YCS with fucking Econ in his deck list, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of cool about Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. But alongside that, with a separate rotation format, just think of the potential. They could make product based around this. People would buy it. People might not buy it. They might just buy the main product. Like this, it's a win-win. I feel like, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe
Don't you
they just
think
feel
the
like
price
they
of
don't
the
want to
card
divide
will drop?
the player base.
Don't you think the price of the card will drop? Like, don't you think that you kill the market by doing that, by reprinting old stuff?
Not necessarily. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess older cards would lose a lot of their value, right? But
I mean,
I like it a lot. One of your takes. One of your takes was if you take an old card, it's gonna be a floodgate. I have still PTSD about Metal Silver Armor, like in the VW format.
Metal Silver
Metal
Armor.
Silver Armor. It's an equip spell that doesn't allow your opponent to target any
oh, that's
monster.
the one played in Infernoble, the one
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
okay,
still
I know
PTSD
exactly
on
what you're
that.
talking about.
I mean,
I feel like modern Yu-Gi-Oh's like card pool is so like people fixate so much on how good it is that Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have rotation, but it's like, okay, like bro, whenever there's like an old card that becomes relevant again, it's almost always a fucking like degenerate floodgate like that no one asked for. Like it's
Yeah.
almost always the case. But anyway, I'm not trying to take away modern Yu-Gi-Oh from the players. I just think like a second competitive format would be really cool, alongside the main game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think for me, I'm open. What I really want to see more is the support of alternate formats, because I think at some point the modern game can get quite stale, and I think like you want to keep players entertained, because like how do you keep players engaged when the format is stale? And I think like you can do that through alternative formats, right? Like if the format gets stale, we can easily be like, hey, let's just play some Edison for a couple of months, and then hopefully the ban list comes out. and maybe that's like a decent like way for, and also people will start buying more Edison cards, right? You can print a product called like Edison Revived or something like that, and then like it's like some cards of like, you know, like a high rarity Swap Frog, like an ultra rare Swap Frog or something, or like I don't know, something sick.
There's so much potential for reprinting old cards, you know.
Yeah.
Like if they had like a literal like if they I think this would be crazy if they made a product that was just ban cards. People would eat that up.
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be a good
Literally
one.
every single card printed is just not legal for play. People would love that, right? People want to like pull like, you know, imagine there was like a collector's rare Pot of Greed, you know, or a Starlight, you know, Graceful. Like people would absolutely eat that up, right? I think it'd be amazing. And it's not for nothing. You use that in retro formats, which they officially support now.
Yes. Wow.
I like it. We were talking, I mean, the entire time we were talking about the current game of you, but I watched your stream and you don't actually play current. So here comes the question. Okay, are you enjoying this game right now?
TCG, I think I don't feel like TCG is a great stream game for me anymore.
Okay.
The amount of effort involved with being good at modern, because I'm a competitive person. I don't want to play something and like do it badly. I want to do something well.
Makes sense.
So when I sit down to play TCG, people don't realize how difficult it is to be really good at modern TCG Yu-Gi-Oh. It is so modern TCG Yu-Gi-Oh is really hard. It is so difficult. There's so many like interactions and combos and decision trees and lines you can take, while at simultaneously thinking about all the decision trees and flows of play that your opponent has. And on top of that, I have to stream it and like, you know, play
Engage with the chat. It's so
engage,
hard.
engage with the chat, right? My brain is just not smart enough to do that, you know. So
no, it's
for me personally, like
stop, brother, because I watched your bro. I'm an old fan, and when I say I'm an old fan, I watched your first YouTube videos, and you were talking about rulings interaction, like if you nailed that like by heart, okay, and then you come on stream and you I don't know how this card works. Let me read. Bro, I saw you. I can guarantee you that I went through your entire YouTube channel and I watched that shit that's sold 4 years, and you nailed that ruling interaction. And then you come on stream
exposed.
Exposed. Yeah, because I feel like earlier, like I do think like I feel like you don't get enough credit, because I always tell people this. People on my stream, they're like, "Yo, Farfa's cheeks, see some buns." I'm like, bro, I feel like he's honestly one of like the better ones, like the better players we have in the YouTube scene. Because I feel like you actually really put in a lot of effort, and you like, because I think what you do, which is I even struggle with myself, is you walk through like the thought process of like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna do this because of like that, or maybe I do this because of that, and I think like that's really good. And even in like your earlier content was, I think, geared towards more competitive people, right? So yeah. I think Joel just rotted your brain, bro. I think that's what happened. I think that Joel's just was not helpful. But yeah,
like
I was there when Glasgow YGO was a thing. I was there. I was there when Glasgow YGO was a thing. And you know why I went through your entire YouTube channel? Because I was suggesting you plays in your Twitch chat, and you were getting pissed. I was like,
dude, Nesh would like, I'm playing like a deck for fun that I don't really care too much about getting good at, and Nesh will post a wall saying like, this is the line, and I'm just like, damn, bro, I'm happy for you or sad that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like,
true. Yeah, that's true.
I'm very passionate.
I mean, from a personal perspective, I'm a bit of a slower learner. It takes a while for me to like kind of process information.
Yeah.
So once I learn it, I feel like I'm okay. I did that with Sword Soul. I feel like I did put in a lot of time and effort.
Yeah,
on
you
stream,
killed it.
off stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was rewarded for my effort. I got top 16 at nationals.
Hey.
But it was like, I don't want to do that again. Like I felt like like legitimately, it didn't feel like a very fun process.
No, bro, it's painful.
To be good at modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like going through all of like the different Sword Soul combos and stuff like that, and then trying to interact with like, the best optimal play with a live opponent on stream while also trying to be semi-entertaining, but also like focusing on, I want to like, this is the Nationals training arc, streaming that for like a whole week and a half. It's like, that was so difficult. And then even after all of that and then getting the reward, listen, topping an event, like a premier event for the first time ever was a great feeling, but I don't think I want to do that again. Like it really hurt my stream. My numbers and stuff like were genuinely affected by trying to be good at modern TCG.
Yeah.
Like, and in the end, like I'm a content creator, I have to care about my numbers, right? So that was like a major point. Like my numbers are down when I play modern, current, competitive, hardcore, like TCG Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's like the main thing. And like while sitting there doing it, I'm just like, am I really enjoying myself right now? Like it's stressful, man. It's hard.
Bro, yeah.
It's not easy. Like,
dude, it's
stressful. You're conditioning yourself to not to do modern because now it's your job, right? So you don't want to condition your number.
I mean, it's tough, right? Sometimes like your job conflicts with what you want to do sometimes. But I think going away from the Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit more, I noticed you've been doing a lot more variety content. I think that's sick. Like how has that been going for you? Like you feel like you're able to make that transition outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Slowly but surely, or like what's your long-term plans with where you're at?
I don't know, man. I would be shocked if a year from now I can like go live with 2K plus viewers or something and not have touched Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 6 months. I'd be shocked if I ever reached that point, but I'm trying to like just at least get my audience used to the idea of like a little bit of non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Content.
Yeah.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of cool crossover with Pokemon. Lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players love Pokemon. Lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players enjoy just more casual variety stuff, just like looking at Reddit, watching videos, reacting, talking about current affairs. Like, so that's just kind of a little bit more of what I've been doing, honestly. And it's been going really well.
Yeah.
We'll see how,
FARFA,
I'll reevaluate.
roll FARFA.
I'll reevaluate like month to month and see how it goes. Yu-Gi-Oh! Will always be like a huge part of my life. And, if for whatever reason, FARFA ends up becoming like the next XQC or something.
Hey,
brother, remember me. Remember me, please, brother.
Yo.
If for some reason that ever happens, of course I'll remember all of you. But I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still going to be a part of my content. I'm always going to check in on like, here's a new Master Duel set. Here's like maybe like a new Duel Links like box or something. I checked in for BA with Duel Links, for example, prior when BA came out like 10 months ago or something. I checked in on I checked that out after not playing it for like half a year. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just you don't quit this game, right?
Yeah.
You don't quit this game.
You really don't. You always find a way to come back. It's part of your legacy. So
it's part of your life. It's whichever point, even if you try to quit, like you will always try. I don't know. You see a video on YouTube talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! You're gonna watch.
But I think that's
the funny thing is I'm probably gonna look at the ban list like for the rest of my life. A year from now, if I like somehow quit, I'm probably still gonna be checking in. Like, well, okay, what's going on with the ban list? Like, well, go ahead. Did they bring back Lavavo Chain? 3 years from now, like I'm gonna be checking this shit out. Like,
yeah, I can't wait. You're gonna be playing
I can imagine FARFA at 70 that bad, and it's on. Father, are you okay? And FARFA will be like, "Is the ban list out?"
Yeah. By the way, when I'm on my deathbed, I'll still be looking for the August 2022 ban list.
Oh my god!
Tell me if Konami out the ban.
Dude, this is one for the history books. I feel like this has to be the longest we've ever waited for a ban list. Like this is definitely one for the history books. Like if there's a historian in the future that like, or maybe if like it makes Yu-Gi-Oh content, he definitely can like go back and be like, bro, this has been a hell of a journey.
So the thing is, right? I mean, I have the spreadsheet here. If you're wondering,
Okay.
the longest wait for a ban list was the December 2020 ban list. If you're curious. Sorry, no, the January one was 99 days for the banning of Firewall. Sorry, the 2018 one.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, the difference is that they had a no sooner than date, right? Like, it was no sooner than January 2018, but it was revealed like almost 100 days after. So it's
that's
like,
a meme.
yeah. So it's crazy. But the thing is, like, we don't have a no sooner than date, right? Because technically, we don't have like a number to say, oh, it's X number. We've been waiting for X number of time because there is no date. So how do you count from a point in time that doesn't exist? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's hard. It's definitely hard.
Yeah. So Farfa, before we head out soon, do you have any parting advice? You because I was watching MBT's stream yesterday, and he was giving a lot of really good advice to like rising YouTubers, people who want to get into the content creation scene. And for people listening, I know this is a different type of GUU, but I want you to share a piece of GUU for people listening. If they want to get into the content creation scene, what would you recommend? What advice would you give?
The number one advice I would give is that, first of all, ask yourself if you want to do content creation. Because a lot of people don't recognize and understand that this is what has become a job like no other. You have to ask yourself, like, okay, do you want to become a firefighter? Do you want to become a politician? A lot of people would say no. So it's the same thing, like with the content creation. Is that something you really want to do? Like, do you want to sit in front of a camera? Do you want to, like, entertain people? For a lot of people, that's no. So that's step one. Actually ask yourself, is this something you even want to do in the first place? Once you've asked that question, you have to recognize and understand that this is a very, very saturated market. I think to really break out in 2022, you have to bring something so unique and special. It's a little bit easier in niche games like Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. People don't understand, and there's some discourse going on around Twitter about it and saying like, oh, so many of these content creators just survived because they've been here forever. And to an extent, a lot of that is true, but a lot of us are still relevant now because we have something like that is special about us, right? Yeah. There's been plenty of just to use an example, there's been plenty of top amazing content creators, top players with like amazing credentials, but they don't stream anymore and they don't make YouTube videos anymore. But they used to, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they tried it. It didn't work out. The numbers weren't there, but some people still survived. Shout outs to Joshua Schmidt. He's been killing it recently. You guys have been insane. Yeah, you guys have been doing really well. And it's like, why? Because you have something special to offer, right? And that's like good, high quality, competitive TCG content while also not having the charisma of a fucking wet sock, right? So that's important,
Jesus. Okay.
So you have to have something that's good about it. Like, what are you offering? Like, what do you, if you're gonna make content,
I offer the GUU.
What is special about you? Yeah, like you offer the GUU, but you also, it's not like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
Right.
Watching paint dry. Yo, Farfa, did you hear the conspiracy about sockfish?
What?
Sockfish.
No, sockfish.
Sockfish. What is a sockfish?
A robot in your sock that moves your piece on the chest.
No.
Is this the chess drama?
Yeah.
No, I didn't look into this. What were people using devices to teach them to tell them what play to make?
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane. I need to look into that.
Sockfish is actually exists. So if you are a wet sock, but in the chess game, I think you can do well. So yeah.
You're so random.
I have to check that drama out tomorrow. That sounds crazy. I didn't realize it was like cheating allegations.
Bro,
that's so funny.
Dude, like I don't even think you want to hear about it. Bro, people are putting stuff up their freaking ass, bro, like to freaking move chess pieces. Imagine people did that for Yu-Gi-Oh. Imagine, like, hey, yo, activate Max C, like, chain Ash, vibrate, like, huh? Like, bro, what?
I got some Yu-Gi-Oh cheating stories for another day. Day. There's old Yu-Gi-Oh was the Wild West, man. It was.
Yo, what's the line?
What's the line?
And you start shaking like crazy. That sounds insane. But yo,
But yeah,
Farfan,
content creation, man, like you have to have something good, you know,
Yeah.
like be like if you're gonna be good at the game, like be good at the game, but also like be like, you know, good to watch, like you guys. You know, if you wanna be funny, if you wanna be entertaining with the content, then you know, do it in a way that doesn't also just copy someone else's series, right? Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, the number of people that have tried to start a new YouTube channel and just like done progression series 2.0 is like that's not gonna work.
I was
you know?
actually analyzing series because I did a huge mistake because I tried to start, you know, the wisest thingy to recreate the replays, and I called them part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. And I was discussing with Pac. I was like, why my content? The first episode was good, but then episode 2, 3, and 4 were not good. Why? And he said, first of all, you have the fucking same thumbnail on every fucking video. Okay. That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Second of all, is the fucking title. Like your title doesn't make any sense because you are calling it "Why is Niagara Do It Yourself Edition," but part 1, part 2, and part 3. But you are not putting any effort. Why you didn't put in the fourth video, for example, Jesse Cotton could have won this game? You know, like something that someone would engage to watch. Like, and that's actually a very big thing. It was a big mistake, in my opinion, that I did, for example, in my videos on YouTube. Like,
I mean, we live and we learn as creators. Yeah, we live and we learn.
Yeah, my thumbnail was wrong, my title was wrong, and I should learn more about my mistake, and that's what everyone should do. Like Farfa suggested, you should always improve yourself by watching also other content creators, what they are doing, but not copying them. You know, Pip the GUU.
It's hard. Like it's like imagine having to like create a new deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, but you're not allowed to net deck like at all. Like it's hard. Like you have to literally come up with your own combo yourself. Like how are you gonna do that? Like
Bro, I got something in the works though. Just you wait.
I could sit and talk here for an hour about the kind of things involved, thumbnails, titling. This is still stuff I'm learning. I mean, even now today, like I make videos. Some of them are absolute flops because I didn't thumbnail and title correctly. Some simple
My brother,
things like
please,
that,
let's
you
do a
know?
coaching session for YouTube stuff because I'm actually down bad.
We're down. We're down. Yeah, no, for sure. Let's go. But yeah,
Bro, you said okay. I'm gonna literally call you.
Yeah, you should have said that.
We can organize this for sure.
Yeah.
No, there are. I'm not joking. I'm actually serious. Say no if it's no.
I'm saying yes.
I'm gonna call you.
Are you not listening?
Man. All right. Well, look, Farfa, thanks for coming on, guys. Huge shouts to Farfa if you're listening in on Spotify or YouTube. Huge shouts to him for coming on. You can check out, bro. I'm sure you already know who he is, but if you somehow don't, you can check him out in the description box. And check out his streams early in the morning every day. Like I believe from like 9 East. To like 2 p.m. Eastern.
9 Eastern is when I start Twitch, yeah. So that's twitch.tv/MBT YUGIOH. That's where you can find me. Check me out.
White.
3 p.m. for Europeans. My boys, you already know where to pick the